Hey, Dan Passarelli here. How you feeling today? So yesterday I talked about being able to hunt for some bargains in the chips, and afterwards, last evening, I was thinking about it a little bit, and I wanted to be sure that I was very clear, and so I wanted to do kind of a part two today and talk a little bit more about chip makers and AI, tech stocks, that kind of thing. SMCI, let's take a look at that chart for a second. If we look at it, so that's the one that came down from 1200 and it traded today at a low of 663. So like it's almost lost half its value. But if we're to go back like to the time when this AI crazy thing started, it's got potentially a lot further to fall. So I wanted to be pretty clear. I wasn't saying necessarily that, hey, you know, just because this one has a lower PE ratio, it's a bargain right now. What I was trying to get across is that as the market continues to fall, which it again did today, and let's look at the broad market again. This is ahead of the PCE data tomorrow. We closed below that 50-day moving average, which is a pretty key point. And so this sell-off that I've been talking about for a couple of weeks could potentially still continue a little bit lower. Now, like, I don't think the market's going to crash. I don't think it's going to 400, right? But if we get a continued pullback, the P in the PE ratio of all those companies that I was talking about is going to get lower, and then they're going to get cheaper. So another thing that happens when stocks start falling a lot is their implied volatility goes up. So with any of these, you know, you start looking and, you know, you wouldn't want to buy 4 or 5 different chip stocks. You'd kind of want to pick one that makes sense for you if that's something that you want to buy anyway. I do think that in the long run, AI is going to be a thing. I think it got overhyped and now maybe it's getting a little beat up. But at some point, it becomes a smart value play. Probably not yet. In fact, I would say certainly not yet. But if we keep getting more of a pullback, then it starts looking like it's going to make sense. But, you know, which puts do you sell? And I was actually looking at SMCI this morning, looking at potentially selling the 500 level puts and thinking, well, you know, do we just end up going all the way back to where we were? And I mean, look, I don't really know, but there is a lot more crushing for the PE ratio to do, but I also don't want to sell so low of a put strike that I don't get assigned. Like the whole point is to sell juicy puts, taking in a bunch of premium and then getting assigned so you're actually buying at still a lower price. So I don't have an order in on any of those chip stocks, tech stocks, but if the market goes down lower, I might start looking at that and selling close enough to the money to intentionally get assigned. So hopefully that clears stuff up. So between NVIDIA, SMCI, and Taiwan Semiconductor, and what was the other one I talked about yesterday? Was it CLS? Intel. Those are my thoughts. Hope those thoughts help. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.